Hi, this is Eric Wiseman with Health Now. Thanks for being with us. A weekly television show, but it usually shows up about 3 times a week on your cable access network. I'll be on again several hours later, same channel. Okay, so you can call your local cable station and find out when our program is going to be replayed on your cable access channel if there is something that you think you have missed. And on this program, we're going to be talking about a very important form of disease. It's a disease that affects many Americans. Most of us have had this disease. It's a disease that makes us feel pretty sick, can cause alternating diarrhea and constipation, can cause nauseousness, can cause vomiting. It's called septicemia, or systemic blood infection with colitis. Okay? Now, I work in the area of internal diseases using metabolites and nutrients. This is not medicine, it's not veterinary medicine, but I help people with their own internal diseases all over the country every day, and also those of their dogs and cats. But instead of using conventional medicine, I use nutrients. A lot of the things that I use can be bought over the counter, and sometimes people call me with various emergencies, most often with dogs and cats, but also in human cases. And I've had the good luck to have, and the knowledge, it's not just good luck, it's knowledge. I've had a very high remission rate with even some of the most deadly cases you can imagine. And one of the reasons why so many people die here unnecessarily in the United States is because doctors, medical doctors, and veterinary doctors are not trained in the area of nutrient and metabolite technology. This is really state-of-the-art work. This goes way beyond conventional medicine in its effect and also in its broad spectrum. And because I've done so many studies and so many experiments, I'm very well trained in this area. And I get people calling me from all over the United States with very difficult cases that aren't responding well to conventional medicine or conventional veterinary medicine. And I think this goes beyond what they call holistic medicine. This is beyond holistic medicine because it is state-of-the-art nutrient and metabolite technology. Now this includes vitamins, it includes minerals, but it also includes metabolites that are also manufactured by the body. Unfortunately, what happens as we age, these metabolites are no longer manufactured in adequate concentrations. And the body is a reciprocal mechanism. You have to understand that the body manufactures many metabolites, many hormones. And as we grow older, the body is simply not able to produce these entities. And one of the most important ones that has one of the most broad spectrum effects is vitamin D. Now, the type of vitamin D that you're being sold in pharmacies and health food stores around the country is vitamin D3, which is an animal byproduct. Now, this can be very toxic, and yet doctors are brainwashed into thinking that vitamin D3 is more effective than vitamin D2. And in my own studies, where I've studied the differences in effect of vitamin D2 and vitamin D3, I have found in virtually every instance that vitamin D2 is not only safer in terms of its toxicity, but it also allows the body to develop very safe levels of vitamin D, and this is very important. And a lot of doctors, including Dr. Mercola, are telling the public that this is not the fact. Nothing could be further from the truth. Another fallacy is the idea that people should take fish oil every day. And in my studies, I found nothing could be more toxic than fish oil or krill oil. And the safest version of omega-3 and the most palatable version of omega-3 comes from flaxseed oil and fresh ground flaxseed. By the way, never take pre-ground flaxseed. Always take flaxseed that is ground up by you. That's really important. So get whole flaxseed, grind it up in an electric coffee grinder, and take a heaping teaspoon, or better yet, a heaping tablespoon every day. It's loaded with lignin and omega-3, omega-6, and omega-9, but mostly omega-3, which is the very important anti-inflammatory fatty acid, okay? And one of the biggest problems all of us face in this country is inflammation and contamination. And a lot of contaminants cause the body to produce inflammation. So taking flaxseed, taking things like cayenne pepper in small amounts. Now, you don't take a lot of cayenne pepper, and it's best to take it in the capsular high concentration form to reduce internal inflammation and external inflammation. Curcumin, another excellent anti-inflammatory. The reality is, doctors are typically promoting anti-inflammatories that actually poison the body. And when I talk about typical anti-inflammatories, I'm talking about aspirin, I'm talking about Tylenol, I'm also talking about steroidal anti-inflammatories. And cortisone, prednisone are two of the anti-inflammatories that actually suppress the immune system, actually make the immune system dysfunctional or poison the immune system so that it doesn't operate adequately. And these are some of the reasons why we get such poor turnouts with conventional medicine. People, wake up. When they read that long list, okay, of side effects at the end of drug commercials, those are warnings about actual poison effects that are occurring in your body every time you take the drug that's being sponsoring the program on TV. So you're actually taking drugs that are causing more and more damage to the body systems every time you take them. It's like eating meat, poultry, and fish. Every time you eat meat, poultry, and fish, you're progressively destroying not only the major circulation to your heart, but also the circulation to your immune system, to your bone structure, the brain, your brain. And I know some people say, Eric, you just haven't got it. Well, I don't agree with them. But, you know, the reality is that you are killing yourself every time you're eating meat, poultry, and fish progressively. And so then I ask you, why? Why would you take fish oil as a source of omega-3 when there's virtually no omega-3 in it after you process it? Or it's not really you, it's the company that's selling the fish oil. So after you heat fish oil or after you cook fish, there's virtually no omega-3 in it. It's burned out by the high temperatures of baking or frying or processing for fish oil at a supplement company. So that's why I take flax oil every day. Excellent anti-inflammatory, helps level out the nutrients in my body, and it also improves circulation to my brain, my heart, obviously my extremities, my arms and legs, hands and feet, and my immune system, and decreases inflammation at the same time. So a lot of people have heard me talk about vegan and vegetarian diets on this program, and I talk about them routinely. I talk to people all the time about the importance of vegan diets and vegetarian diets because they don't have the animal fat. They don't have the cholesterol that destroys our circulatory system. And I can tell you that in any given disease, I don't mean some diseases, but any given disease, you know, whether it's multiple sclerosis, whether it's stroke, whether it's presenile dementia, whether it's Parkinson's disease, heart disease, whether it's cardiopulmonary disease where the lungs are affected with a decrease in circulation or forming embolisms or blood clots. The diet is essential to improving all these diseases when it's vegan or vegetarian. And if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, you're eating less of the foods that clog your arteries. I mean, in a vegan diet, there's almost no fats that clog the arteries unless you're consuming trans fats, because vegan diets don't contain any animal products whatsoever. And there are huge advantages to a vegan diet because, number one, there is no torturing or killing of innocent, gentle animals. And that's very, very important, not killing or torturing animals. We love animals. They're gentle, beautiful creatures. Why torture and kill them, except for their flesh? And believe me, it's so arrogant of humans to think that they're any better than cows, pigs, chickens, fish. They deserve a life just like we do. And every time you consume them, or their parts, you're not only destroying your body, you're destroying your mind, okay? You're destroying your mind because you're actually causing harm to an innocent individual. You really do hurt yourself. So I want you to think about that. Also, according to the World Health Organization and also the World Watch Institute, most of the gases that are destroying our planet come from animal farms and slaughterhouses. That's right. Animal farms and slaughterhouses are causing most of the gases. They're causing these record-breaking temperatures that literally are destroying our civilization. They cause the hugest drought that we've ever experienced in our history, and I mean our contemporary history. Of course, in the 1930s, we had a very severe drought. And okay, so I want you to remember these things. Remember that hunting, fishing, and trapping are also awful sports. They torture and kill animals. And these are beautiful animals, and I want you to think about what you're doing. I want you to think about the importance of treating animals with equality and respect, just like you would want to be treated yourself, okay? Because these animals wouldn't hurt you, and you shouldn't be hurting them. So we're talking about systemic blood infection and colitis on this program. And colitis, or inflammation of the intestines, can be called numerous diseases. I'm sure you've heard of irritable bowel disease. I'm sure you've heard of Crohn's disease. Some of these diseases can be deadly and kill people at a very early age, but they can be contained very easily by using combinations of supplements and sometimes antibiotics, but always with supplements, not always with antibiotics. Okay, most of these diseases can be addressed with enzymes and using probiotic bacteria and using botanical anti-inflammatories. And some of the ones that I use for internal toxicity are noni and chlorella. These are very important broad-spectrum antitoxins. Another broad-spectrum intestinal anti-inflammatory is peppermint leaf, an excellent internal anti-inflammatory for the intestinal tract, peppermint leaf. And you can actually rip open a peppermint tea bag and you can drink down the peppermint, and you'll notice that it will instantly soothe the intestinal walls and reduce inflammation and also diarrhea and irritation and abdominal pain just by taking a tea bag full of peppermint leaf, not in the tea bag, of course, but ripping it open and drinking it in a glass of, nice distilled water. Okay, some of the complications that can occur from intestinal inflammation or colitis or Crohn's disease are nauseousness and vomiting, diarrhea, very common, as I mentioned, constipation. Pneumonia is not a common complication. I'm just going to wipe that out. Pneumonia is not a complication of colitis or irritable bowel syndrome. But not only can it be very uncomfortable, it can also produce death and systemic blood poisoning. So it's something that has to be dealt with effectively. And I found in my studies and experiments, it can be dealt with much more easily using botanicals and vitamins and minerals and protein isolates, excuse me, and protein isolates much more effectively than it can with drugs, okay? Prednisone is often used. Antibiotics like Flagyl are often used in conditions like this. And unfortunately, the subject or the patient gets somewhat intolerant to these drugs, and it actually causes the immune system to fail even further. And then that causes death prematurely. Now, 85% of diseases in this country are caused by lifestyle, 85%. And not coincidentally, 85% of the people that die in this country prematurely are dying from heart disease and stroke, diabetes, and drugs and surgery. According to one major study, epidemiological study by the American Medical Association, and reported in their journal, drugs and surgery are the third leading cause of death in the United States. And that's why it's better to use nutrients and metabolites to treat your disease rather than drugs and surgery. The problem is that medical doctors are not trained in this area. So if you have questions, please do not hesitate to call me. My phone number is 651-221-9056. And I help people all over the country every day with my procedures. Calcium and magnesium citrate, excuse me, very important in colitis and various other autoimmune diseases. And I qualify colitis and irritable bowel syndrome as an autoimmune disease because the body, for the most part, is reacting against itself. The intestine is actually reacting against itself, much like it does in various cancers, multiple sclerosis, another disease that's an autoimmune syndrome. There are many, and a lot of these diseases come from our poor diets. Now, even if you're a vegan or vegetarian, I will tell you, you can have a very poor diet. If you're eating candy all the time and potato chips, you can be a strict vegan. In other words, a vegetarian that doesn't eat any animal products whatsoever. No dairy, no eggs, but lots of junk food. Yeah, you can be a strict vegan or strict vegetarian and still die easily from one of the diseases that we've discussed on this program because you're not eating a complete diet and you're not supplementing. So you can kill yourself prematurely. So the three-part solution to living a long and healthy life, in addition to using these kinds of procedures if you're sick in the intestines, is to exercise, using heavy weights as part of your exercise plan at least 2 or 3 times a week, jogging if you can, doing cardiovascular exercise every day, and then 3, taking the right supplements. And when I say the right supplements, they're not, unfortunately, the supplements you buy at Walgreens, CVS Pharmacy, and some of the other vitamin stores. Unfortunately, the sad reality is that there's a lot of misrepresentation in the supplement industry very much like there is in the drug industry. Now, I will tell you that there is less misrepresentation in the supplement industry than there is in the drug industry, and certainly the ramifications of taking supplements in the wrong concentrations or the wrong type is far less dangerous than taking certain drugs. And the reality is, one of the reasons why pharmaceutical companies keep on coming out with new drugs is because, not because they're better. No, don't think for a minute that drug companies are bringing out new drugs because they're better drugs. What they bring them out for is to avert the problems that occur when their patent runs out on the current drug, which often is better than the drug that they're bringing out. And that's the fact, especially with birth control medications. Found in case after case that the new birth control medications like Orcella actually cause more complications than the old type of birth control methods. Okay, so the reason why drug companies often come out with new drugs is not because they're better, it's because their patents are expiring and they can't make the money that they could unless they brought out the new formulations. Going back to colitis, remember the importance of calcium and magnesium. They both work to reduce inflammation in the intestine. And the type of choice, in other words, the calcium and magnesium of choice, is calcium citrate. That's the best one. I mentioned peppermint leaf as an anti-inflammatory. If you have an acute bacterial infection, again, amoxiclav or amoxicillin is actually the preferable antibiotic that I use, but usually that's not necessary. Preferably what I use is garlic and ginseng in these cases. I don't use any pharmaceutical antibiotic at all, and I get spectacular results, very good results in these kind of cases. Whether it's a dog or a cat or a human case, we've been able to avert disaster and even death by taking control of these cases without any drugs at all. So that's a good thing, because when you're not using drugs, it means you're not getting the organ failure effects from the drugs. So keep that in mind, okay? These are safe systems, but remember again, I want to impress upon you that if you're using this system to help yourself or a loved one, you want to remember that you should use the right amounts, because some of these things are toxic when given in too high a concentration. Vitamin K1 can be toxic, a very important coagulant, can stop internal bleeding of the intestines and stop heart attacks from occurring. K2, MK7, another very important anticoagulant with hormonal-like effects, helps strengthen the teeth of your dogs and cats, and also humans. You want to keep your teeth? K2, MK7, and vitamin D2 are critically important in strengthening your teeth and your bone tissue. And you'll never get this kind of strengthening with any other combination, especially when you combine them with calcium and magnesium citrate. So if you want to keep your teeth and you want to keep your bones intact your whole life, okay, and it's going to be a longer life if you take this, then you mix these together in the right amounts, and you're going to live a lot longer and healthier and have a lot less disease and infection in all parts of your body. Okay, now I can't guarantee that any of you are going to live longer or healthier. And I have seen animals go into remission and humans go into remission near death using these procedures. You're welcome to call me if you'd like further information. My phone number is 651-221-9056. And remember this, if you do have a loved one that is near death, whether it's a dog or a cat or a ferret or a human, there are ways to intervene using nutrient and metabolite technology that are far improved over conventional medicine and far more advanced and safer. So call me if you'd like help. I want to give special thanks to you for watching, but especially special thanks to my incredible crew, the incredible people who help out with this program. Okay, our director, Bob Schultz, and our graphics person on this program, and that's Tom Woods. Lynn Wiseman, she is the incredible cook who helped make the food for all the participants in this program, and it was a great vegan meal. Dave Olson, our great floor director, who helped us put together, and our camera person. And again, you for watching this program. This has been a not-for-profit program brought to you by the People for Health, Environment, and Animals, a non-profit organization since 1992. Please look at our website at nutrition.com, weissmannutrition.com. It's right on the board behind me for different show times in your area. We're spreading to California now and some other states, and we hope you'll tell your friends out there to watch our program on cable access TV. Thanks so much for watching, and see you again soon.